Welcome, Dream Act class of 2009. Being asked to address you is one of the great honors of my life. I take my hat off to you. I don't have a hat. For all that you have overcome, all that you have accomplished. Some of you crossed the desert on the backs of your parents when you were just infants. Others were uprooted from elementary schools in the countries where you were born, kicking and screaming to stay with your pals there, forced to learn a new language and adapt to a new culture. Some of you learned to hide at an early age and to live your lives in fear of deportation. Others learned of your immigration status early on and heard the stories of your families told of coming to America by foot or bus or plane. Stories as American as baseball or hip hop. But still, your immigration status was not real. The immigrant experience was about stories and family and food. Until one day you may have asked your parents about getting a driver's license or wanted to travel abroad with some friends or wanted to apply for that first summer job. And the impact on you and your family's history gradually dawned on you. That your future and that of your U.S. citizens' classmates and that of your U.S. citizen siblings, for that matter, were going to be very different. Some of you, like Walter Latta, who will speak to you later, grew up blissfully unaware of your immigration status. You grew up like the other kids in the playground, and those on your left and your right in American history classes, until the day that you needed a social security number to complete your application to college. On that bleak day, the solid ground of your childhood gave way under your feet, and your future changed from a dream to a nightmare. A few of you, like Walter and Benita up here, have been arrested like criminals, put in jail for days or weeks, and now face forcible removal to countries you barely remember. Yet after all that you have gone through, all that you have overcome, you are here. Some of you never in your lives traveled out of state, much less all the way to Washington, D.C. You are here because in a profound way that the hate-filled, anti-American crowd will never understand, you are the most American of Americans. The essence of the United States from its founding days is a struggle to make a more perfect union. Belief and appeal to our government of the people, by the people, for the people, for justice and decency. As Paul Robeson sang of the Founding Fathers and their spiritual progeny, nobody who was anybody believed it. Everybody who was anybody doubted it. Nobody had faith. Nobody but Washington, Tom Paine, Benjamin Franklin, Haym Salomon, Crispus Attucks, Lafayette. Nobodies. You dropped everything, again with no funds, and came to D.C. over and over to petition your congressional representatives. The nobodies that ran a tea party at Boston. Betsy Ross organized a sewing circle. Paul Revere had a racehorse. You, Dream Act class of 2009, are the inheritors of that legacy. You may not have been born here, but neither was Alexander Hamilton. You are here by rights the least powerful of Americans, by all accounts unwanted by this nation that aspires to judge individuals, as Martin Luther King said, by the content of their character. That was a dream he had. You have a right to be bitter, but despite all you have experienced, or perhaps because of all you have experienced, you have not dropped out. You have not despaired. You have organized. You have organized in a manner that puts professional, well-funded, and powerful groups to shame. Nothing against those groups. But what you have accomplished is amazing. You and you alone have put the DREAM Act on the political map. You rallied. You wrote letters and made phone calls. You created an effective national organization with no funds. You mobilized your friends and communities and attracted passionate allies. You mastered Web 2.0 better by far than anyone else has. And you dropped everything again with no funds and came to DC over and over. And I hope, as somebody told me as I was coming up here, that this is the very last DREAM Act graduation.
Yes.
Honestly, Steve King, you came to petition your congressional representatives for justice and basic decency. Steve King, Tom Tancredo, Minutemen. What could be more American than that? All of that work to pass a simple and eminently reasonable and just piece of legislation, the DREAM Act, simply put, would allow individuals such as you, who have grown up in this country and can demonstrate good moral character and who have stayed in school, a 6-year path to legal residence and citizenship that you have earned. When it comes down to it, all that you are asking, petitioning, working so hard to accomplish is to be treated like the classmates you played with. The same, for God's sake, as some of your own brothers and sisters who were born here. Nobody who was anybody believed it. Everybody who was anybody, they doubted it. Nobody had faith. But like those true patriots, like the suffragists and the civil rights workers, you have worked against the odds to make America, America again. And because of your hard work, because of your stories, the American people overwhelmingly support the DREAM Act. Microsoft and a growing number of businesses support it because they know that our future is together and that we can't afford to throw away your ability. The union movement supports it. And on behalf of our members who would benefit and the children of our members. And by now, every politician, because of your efforts, knows what the DREAM Act, the president supports it, a majority of the Senate supports it, and probably a majority of the House. This is a determinative time for immigration reform. The president's spokesperson said yesterday that the votes are not there now. And that for this year at least, the calendar does not favor comprehensive immigration reform, which the DREAM Act would be part of. But that doesn't take into account what you have proven you can accomplish. We can and must prove him wrong. But regardless, we have to pass the DREAM Act in this Congress. You cannot wait. The nation cannot wait. Class of 2009 and friends and allies, you have a great, great responsibility on your shoulders. The weight of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands who could not be here today is on your shoulders. Their future, America's future, you have done so well. Your amazing skill, savvy, commitment, and passion have brought the DREAM Act to the very doorstep of victory. To know you is to love you. Make yourselves known and Congress will act. We will succeed. Thank you.